good evening, and thank you for watching Truth News. America as we know it is coming to an end, and we're witnessing it in real time. How many of us can say today that we are living the life that the Founding Fathers intended? We have big tech controlling what we can say and post online. If you post something that they don't like, you're canceled, deplatformed, erased. They did it to a president of the United States. We also have an administration who has admitted to spying on Americans and censoring the posts that they deem misinformation, using Facebook and tagging posts for Facebook.
First, we are in regular touch with these social media platforms. This is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. In terms of actions, Alex, that we have taken from the federal government, we've increased disinformation research and tracking. Within the Surgeon General's office, we're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation.
And then speaking of misinformation and the announcement from yesterday, for how long has the administration been spying on people's Facebook profiles looking for misinformation?
Well, that was quite a loaded and inaccurate question, which I would refute.
How?
Well, Peter, first of all, as you know, we're in a regular touch with a range of media outlets.
And we expect the White House to watch
let me
you
finish.
watch, but
As we are
Facebook.
in regular touch with social media platforms.
Okay, so these 12 people who you have on a list, 12 individuals, do they know that somebody at the Surgeon General's office is going through their profile?
Our biggest concern here, and I frankly think it should be your biggest concern, is the number of people who are dying around the country because they're getting misinformation that is leading them to not take a vaccine.
But the concern, though, I think for a lot of people on Facebook is that now this is Big Brother watching you.
They're more concerned about that than people dying across the country because of a pandemic where misinformation is traveling on social media platforms. That feels unlikely to me. If you have the data to back that up, I'm happy to discuss
and
it.
just about things that are on Facebook, I looked this morning. There are videos of Dr. Fauci from 2020 before anybody had a vaccine, and he is out there saying there's no reason to be walking around with a mask. So is the administration going to contact Facebook and ask them to take that down?
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
Exactly.
I have never seen any data to suggest that that the vaccines cause infertility. That is information that is irresponsibly traveling. Okay,
Just one more. Sorry, excuse me. Just one more. Okay, just one more. Sorry, excuse me. Just one more. Okay, about this.
This is no longer Republican versus Democrat. This is freedom versus communism.
Is there any concern that things you're trying to block or have taken down might someday turn out to be?
We don't take anything down. We don't block anything. Facebook and any private sector company makes decisions about what information should be on their platform. The vaccines are safe, they're effective. If people take them, they will save their life in many cases.
The greatest disservice to the American people is the misinformation about the special juice. The miracle juice that they said would stop the current emergency. Biden said that it was your civic duty to take this juice to keep the community safe. However, information just released officially says that actually more people who took the special juice died than those who did not.
I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly. Well,
right after this, President Biden suggested that all federal employees should get the special juice to stop the spread of the cooties in Washington, D.C. What is going on?
next, every federal government employee will be asked to attest to their vaccination status. Anyone who does not attest or is not vaccinated will be required to mask no matter where they work, test 1 or 2 times a week to see if they've acquired COVID. We're still hearing that people are unable to get time off from their employer to get vaccinated. Employers, if you haven't given employees paid time off, do it now, please.
Dr. Fauci stated that these special juices would help the new variant of cooties before there was even any information about this new variant. Again, Dr. Fauci and his lies and his misinformation.
One mask at least, but if you want to really be sure, get a tighter fit with the second mask.
So wait a minute, are you a double masker, Dr. Fauci? It looked like you are.
Then he said, oh, just kidding, I lied. You do need to wear masks. Actually, wear 2 masks. If you get the special juice, you don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Why were we told later in the spring to wear them when we initially were told not to?
Okay, that's a good question, and I'm glad that you asked and to give me the opportunity to clarify it. So let's start with your first question. You know, masks are not 100% protective. What about a month or so, or 2 or 3 ago, when people were saying, you don't really need to wear a mask? There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. Well, the reason for that is that we were concerned, the public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 masks and the surgical masks, were in very short supply. And we wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way to take care of people who you know were infected with the and the danger of them getting infected.
Dr. Fauci, are we looking at a split-screen America right now, of part of the country doing quite well and an unvaccinated part of the country in crisis?
You know, unfortunately, I think we are looking to some sort of version of that.
If you get the shot, you can have hot dogs on the 4th of July. Remember when he told you that? So you got the shot. And now, surprise, surprise, they are demanding that even after you got the shot, you wear a mask again, even when you're outside.
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
It turns out that the vaccines, those wonder drugs that were absolutely perfect, that were more impressive than the moon landing, the drugs you were not allowed to question in any way, don't actually work in the way they told us they did. The science is more complicated than we thought. There's still an awful lot we don't know. These are, after all, experimental drugs, and they're behaving like it. The bottom line is that a huge number of people are getting COVID, and some of them are getting very sick, even dying. According to the CDC today, fully 3/4 of the people infected in a recent outbreak, for example, in Massachusetts, had already been vaccinated. The CDC announced that people can carry the virus with them, and they can easily spread the virus to others. As the CDC conceded, quote, breakthrough infections may be as transmissible as unvaccinated cases. So now we learn that virtually everything they told us about the COVID vaccine was wrong. Looks like we were right to keep asking questions. Keep in mind that if you had written any of what we just said on Facebook yesterday, you would have been censored immediately for misinformation, if not for a hate crime. And yet now, that's the official finding of the U.S. government. Most people can live with that honest uncertainty. They can handle the truth. What they can't handle is being lied to relentlessly by their leaders and then shamed if they ask questions. And that's exactly what's been happening. You remember just a few weeks ago, it was July 8th, that Tony Fauci was asked directly by a reporter whether this would work against the new Indian variant, the Delta variant. Now, the honest answer would have been, we're not sure, or we hope it does. But Fauci is a liar, so that's not what he said. Instead, as usual, Fauci pretended to know what he does not know and could not know. The answer, Fauci replied, is yes, it does. Fauci said that on the record, and he said it more than once. They all said that again and again and again every day, and they shouted at you if you asked a follow-up question.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress. Microphone.
Your microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly, and I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Why the forced masking? Masks are of limited medical value, as the authorities once told us. This is crazy. Let's just say it out loud. And even the people who are enforcing the rules, demanding that you change your life, that you put your entire life on hold, don't actually believe the rules they're imposing on you. Look at this video of Nancy Pelosi from today. Now, keep in mind, she just called for the arrest of people who don't wear masks on the Capitol grounds. And yet, there she was just moments ago. Check this out.
Can we take off our masks?
Twitter, where I have, several 100,000 followers, has banned me again from posting, so I cannot post for at least the next week. It's very clear that I'm going to get dumped by the platform, that I'm not, that I'm going to lose my voice there because I'm not going to stop posting the truth. It's very clear that these are not a magic bullet. And we know from the data in the UK and in Israel that more people who are dying than not.
There are a number of ways to combat misinformation. One of them is accurate information.